Z, it's great to have you in our podcast. And I guess today it's all about robotics, and most of AI today lives in the cloud. And but I guess, real $1 trillion shift. It's AI entering the physical world, and we know that Devol Robots are building what you guys call a physical intelligence. So let's, I guess, dive right into it. And give me a 30-second version. What is Devol Robots? What are you guys building?
So, hi, Sergey. Nice to be on the podcast. So basically, Devol Robots is a foundational model company. We build world model for the robotic manipulation. And in the world model field, instead of building a model of the world and doing prediction of that world, we are building a model of the embodiment, let it experience in the real world and learn how to control itself.
Okay, that's interesting. So I guess the follow-up question would be, what problem were you obsessed with solving before you started the company? Why have you started that?
So, me and my co-founder, we are like high school best friends, and we are obsessed with robotic manipulation and solving robotic manipulation almost 10 years since his grad school.
Interesting. So you were into robotics before it became like a very hot topic, right? Sort of
Yeah,
before it became cool, as we would
when
say, right?
when it's like reinforcement learning, and the hot thing at that point of time is like locomotion.
Okay, I understand. I think it's back in Boston Dynamic robot when it was barely able to walk, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And we are funny thing is my co-founder actually helped Agility presented
Mhm.
one of their paper in one of the conference, and we are now like talking to them right now on the collaboration as well.
Interesting. That's a big shift. And I guess why now? What changed in the last few years, to make this technology possible?
I think one of the biggest shift in terms of AI is the move to like end-to-end training. That's one.
Hmm.
And another thing is in the past few years, a lot of the robotic hardware has been like, I wouldn't say commoditized, but the supply chain of robotic hardware has slowly been built up to certain maturity that is easier and easier for us to build model on top of it.
Okay. So you would say that was your specific kind of like aha moment, that made you to go all in the Devil Robots, right?
Well, well, to be fair, when we figured out the math 4 years ago, and when we started, going into this, we are actually building our own actuators and drivers and firmware and everything, because at that point of time, it's really really hard to find good hardware. As we progress, and hardware get like better and better and cheaper, and so we decided to only focus on the model and not the hardware.
Okay. I mean, it's so interesting. It's very true because like you nail it. I mean, today everybody's building robots, but it's just hardware. I mean, there's no brains in it, right? So you need the actual AI as a software to be put in the robot to be active, to be able to perform certain functions. Otherwise, it's just like
Yeah,
you're just controlling that like you're controlling with the joystick, right? You have to be an actual physical person sitting behind that and controlling the robots. And people,
yeah,
a lot of people don't understand that when they see, those robots doing tricks on stage and walking around, there's a guy behind the stage sitting there controlling it.
yeah,
But it's
yeah.
it's just a machine. It looks amazing, but like it's not autonomous, right? It's not. It doesn't have that function.
Yeah, it's exactly the paradox, right? Things that are easy for humans,
Yeah.
and this is hard for robots. Like backflip is so easy for robot, but in our perspective, we think it's so amazing, and
Oh
we
yeah.
infer from that the robot should be very agile and very dexterous, and can do everything just from the backflip, right? Yeah,
That is true.
yeah.
And I guess you guys talk about physical intelligence, but what does that actually mean in practice?
So, in actual fact, it's kind of like a generalized intelligence on like if I see something like this in various condition, would I be able to control the robot to do
Mhm.
some useful work from that? So I mean, there is a bunch of different ways and different approach on doing this, and we are doing it slightly differently.
Okay, that's that kind of explains it. But I guess most robots right now heavily rely on vision, but you're focusing on the touch, mostly on force. Why is that the missing piece of the overall, I guess, technology nowadays?
So So if you think about it, right, us as humans, we do not actually control ourselves, like our muscles, just by vision. If it's just vision for us and without any feedback, it's actually really hard to do anything useful. So, but without vision and with touch, we can actually do a lot of things. Like when we close our eyes and we know something is there, we can do some like rather complex like assembly tasks or drinking waters or things like that. Just with like this kind of force feedback and control.
Okay, and I guess is this closer to how humans learn physically?
Yeah, it is. So what we have introduced on the very foundational level is that we have introduced a novel framework for robotics training or more like for AI training that doesn't flatten different robotic representation uh basically data that we collect in the real world into Euclidean space. So what I'm trying to say here is that it doesn't tokenize the data set and flatten it and putting it into a pipeline so it retains all the physical property that we want. And if we do that and if we respect like different like manifolds and geometry of the real world, we would be able to like train a model that can capture like this kind of physical interaction and form the actual relationship between robotic control and the interaction within the model itself. So this is what we are trying to do.
Okay, that's very interesting. You just kind of superseded my next question. How does the robot actually feel and react? But that's good. Means you're actually truly passionate about that. So I guess my follow-up question would be, how important is the real-time feedback, I guess, versus the pre-trained models like everybody's using?
So both are important actually. Like so within a pre-trained model, you actually want the network to learn like the relationship between control and interaction. But when you are actually using it in the real world, you do need that kind of feedback. Think of it this way. When you are doing pre-training, you are actually you are think of it like teaching a child to do some useful tasks. They watch an adult like do something. They try it out by themselves and they learn and they sort of figure out how to do certain things. They figure out the relationship between control and the result and interaction, right? That's pre-training for you. So but when you need it to be useful in the actual world, like let's say in manufacturing, in logistics, in the real world that make economical return, you need to train that child into an actual worker. So within that, you would need like real time training, like job training for post training and fine tuning. And when you master that and when they are doing it, it still needs to be real time because without that kind of real time feedback and control, you wouldn't be able to like do the task like reliably and also like with a lot of variations.
Mhm. That's a very good answer. I think I've seen that recently on YouTube where this one of the factories in India, the guy has a mounted camera on his head. You know
Yeah,
that, like a bunch of them
yeah,
sitting there. Is that what they do, right? They're teaching the AI, and then further away they're teaching the actual humanoids how to perform certain tasks, right?
yeah. So that is somewhat, I mean, that is the current like general approach.
Hmm.
And uh our view is slightly different actually. We don't entirely agree with that particular
Okay.
approach. Yeah.
I guess what is the hardest and technical challenge you have solved so far?
So I think the so at the very beginning, what we are trying to do is because more than 4 years ago, we have like experience in what we call impedance control. Impedance control is somewhat like controlling the relationship dynamically between position and force. It's a type of like conventional force control method. And we were thinking like, okay, we should actually use the fundamental principle of impedance control in a type of representation learning. And that is the start of our journey, and the math like makes sense, and we started doing it. But what we have not imagined is that if we really want to like make it work, we will need to like create an entirely different framework and different architecture. And even within that particular framework, different attention mechanism for training like the correct geometry. And it takes such a long time to do. It's we never realize it's such a huge task. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great answer, I think. And if you talk about like a real live deployment, what does this actually get used today? We're talking about manufacturing or assembly lines or like human robot collaboration. What is the actual specifics for that?
So right now we are deploying into like manufacturing, and one of the tasks that we're deploying is in optics manufacturing, where the robot single or dual arm handles like optical lenses that are used in machine visions, and place it basically picking it up and placing it into different jigs and fixtures. So the hard part for this is that there are like thousands of different like type of lenses, and each individual lenses and each process have their own like unique jigs and fixtures. So the robot model basically need to figure out how to handle all those like variation without damaging those lenses. And the next step we are going to do on lenses is that how do you like assemble this kind of lenses into an entirely optical systems. And some other tasks that we are also doing. One is like cable manipulation, like data cables for like data centers or wire harness in probably like automotive. And one very interesting task that we do is like dielectric film handling. So
Mhm.
that they cut it into like a smaller rolls, and we need to like basically unload the machine, like put it somewhere else, and unload each individual rolls, reload it, and basically handle the films, and reroute it back into those kind of rolls. And this type of thing is like dielectric film basically are used in like film capacitors, um, solar panels, battery manufacturing. Yeah. And one even more like daily life relevant is that we actually did a training for another robotics company.
Okay,
And what they are doing is like traditional matcha making. You can
interesting.
imagine like
Yeah, yeah,
whi-
yeah.
whisking the matcha and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, you mentioned all this very unique, specific tasks. What about making dim sum dumplings? Can you do that?
Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
my favorite.
We
That's what's like, yeah.
we will
That's,
teach a robot to do that
yeah,
next.
because one day you'll see like all these robots sitting there in those
Yeah.
dumpling shops, you know. And I guess after, you mentioned all this interesting tasks, but what do you think? What tasks are still impossible to automate today, and that you're trying to unlock, for example?
Hmm. So within the cable or wire
Mhm.
harness, there are actually a lot of different branch, like different processes in cable manipulation. And to unlock all of them actually requires very, very significant improvement in both the brain and the hardware. Hardware in terms of like the grippers,
Yeah,
because a lot of the tasks it requires like multiple fingers to do and to collaborate together and also use of tools. So if you really do want to like directly handle the same task like a human do, the hardware actually still needs to get better. And I would foresee that this is we can see like a huge improvement in the next 2 to 3 years on this end.
no, you're right. I mean, the hardware have to catch up with the software because otherwise,
Yeah,
even the task are possible. But yeah, because of the hardware, it would be very hard to do. Uh,
yeah.
okay, great. I guess my next question would be, at what point does this become economically, I guess, obvious for other companies, other enterprises to adopt this kind of technology?
So what we are trying to push really, really hard is that we try to make a because at the end of the day, model is just model.
Mhm.
If you don't use it, is really, really hard to like improve it. You need real world data and you need real world and real customer feedback to be able to improve your pre-trained model. So we are pushing really hard in terms of like commercialization and also like making economical sense for our manufacturing clients. And even right now, for certain tasks, it already makes economical sense for the customer in terms of a more complex task to subscribe to a model like this and contribute data in terms of like uh improving the model.
Okay, so I guess it's a learning curve for both the clients and you guys deploying this model. And
Yeah.
I guess when you think about deploying this model, like what is the biggest bottleneck for scaling this? Would that be the hardware cost, the actual complexity of being deployed, or just the feasibility of the whole thing?
So you know traditionally I would say like this industry is almost a custom, custom made or custom system integrating industry. It doesn't really scale that well, because every single project or every single new task that you face will become custom engineering work. But what we are seeing, the change right now is that significantly better model, like what we are building right now, is emerging, and we can leverage this type of model to make a really really simplified post training process, so that capex wise and opex wise it would be it would make sense for the customer to actually utilize this kind of model to so you know so that the entire like industry can scale.
Of course,
Yeah.
yeah. And do you think it's gonna scale more like a software or actually like manufacturing? What is the story here?
So referring to my last answer, uh it is traditionally like an automation company. Now, because of improvement in AI, it is more and more leaning to scaling like software. But it would never get to pure software, purely because it does have a huge hardware component, and it is still a system integration problem in different companies and different industries.
Okay, so it's kind of like part of the same problem, if you will. So it kind of moves
Yeah,
side by side. Yeah, I
yeah,
understand.
but it would scale a lot faster than the
Of
past
course.
decade. That's for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess we're seeing like a big push, or let's say a wave of robotics going from humanoids to warehouse bots. And where do
Mhm.
you see in this kind of landscape? Are you going to be introducing a lot of that AI software for the working at the warehouses?
So one of the reason that we are more focusing on manufacturing right now is because manufacturing have more significantly more complex tasks. And manufacturing has the most labor shortage comparing to like warehouses. Uh, the the training cost for manufacturing workers in complex tasks is significantly higher than anything in logistics. That's one thing. And regarding on like humanoid or different like robotic embodiment, we are working more towards robotic arm right now, or either single or dual arm, or like arms on the platform that move. Uh, Precisely because we first of all, manufacturing clients require very high like safety standards, and all of your hardware and and firmware needs to pass like very stringent like safety compliance. So you know and humanoid is not there yet. You can try it out, but it's very hard for like scaling. So, but then again, that being said, humanoid would definitely be the next big thing, and we are like actively taking the shift, basically putting our models from controlling robot arm to full body control in humanoids right now.
Okay, yeah, it kind of makes sense. And I think follow up on that. Do you think these specialized robots win over like a general purpose ones? Are we talking about just specifics for specific industry? We're talking about like the robot that can kind of do it all on.
Uh, my so what I think would happen is that there would definitely be like specialized robot in a lot of the industry. But then, right, there would be a domain for like generalized robot in all those industry as well, because there are certain tasks that requires like general purpose robot. They are more simple, but requires like a lot of modality in one embodiment. So both would happen at the same time. And one of the thing that would probably converge is the brain. The brain would need to we need to be able to like navigate and control across different embodiment. That's that's my view on this.
Okay, that kind of makes sense. And I guess let's think about the future. Let's fast forward, 5, maybe even 10 years from now. What do you think the world like is gonna look like if everything works? Like we're gonna have all these humanoid robots deployed everywhere. Are gonna be using your physical AI and everything. So, what do you think is gonna be like a sci-fi movie? Or are we gonna be living in this age of abundance, or is it they're gonna actually take our jobs?
So I have a personal like backstory to share on this.
Mhm.
Um, Actually, my personal motivation on doing this is that I do think that robotics would push us to the age of abundance. and push us to like true equality. I mean, one of my saddest memory, I would say, is that when I started out like founding my first company in manufacturing, we are forced to like take a lot of foreign labors, purely to stay competitive, right? And those foreign labors, they are a lot of them are from Nepal and Bangladesh, and actually, I think 80% of them are college grads. They could not find a job in their own country, so they need to travel to other countries, and do a very very mundane job, like highly repetitive job,
Very manual
and
then jobs. Yeah.
very very manual. And when you are designing like systems like this, you actually think in terms of like, how do I treat humans like a robot? How do I design every single process so the person that's doing this would function exactly like a robot and follow the cycle time that we set. And it's really really sad. So I tried to like bring some of them that have an accounting background, and promote them to doing our bookkeeping, and following our head of account. But after a while, I realized, this is not the solution. The solution it is a highly systematic problem, and I think robotics and and AI would be part of the key, if we design it in the right way to solve this problem. And this is both a political problem, a social problem, and a technological problem. And what I wanted to make sure is that the technology end would reach that state so that we can talk, social policy and political policy to make that kind of abundance future happen.
Okay, that's a very good answer. You know,
Thanks.
I guess since we're talking about how you started the company and what was the reason behind that, what has been the hardest moment when you started the company?
Hardest moment. Well, we sort of underestimated a lot of things. Like say we underestimated the tech. We underestimated how hard is it to basically make hardware and make hardware at scale. Um, and uh, and it requires a lot of like pivoting throughout. So we learned a lot, and we we have this almost near death experience like so many times.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. It it
trust me,
is it is
you go through this death valley, so to speak, right? Before you can actually
yeah,
make it happen. Yeah.
yeah. And honestly, like, there is a lot of temptation throughout the entire journey to like basically give up our dream, and and make the company into doing another thing that is profitable. Because when you gather a team, like us, we always maintain a team of about 15 to 20. We're now 20 plus. And when you have a team of highly technical people, actually there's a lot of things that you can do that that makes you money.
For sure.
And and throughout the entire journey, there is a lot of people that hand you out different candies, that you do this, you can immediately make some money, and you would be out of the financial like hardship immediately. But uh I would say it's more of a ultimately it's more of a psychological struggle, in terms of like, okay, should we face reality, or is our dream so valuable that we have to like continue to do this. And I'm really glad that we can get through all the temptations and still doing this right now.
That's great. I mean, listen, that's every founder's dream, keep up the good fight, go through all the struggles and finally, see the light at the end of the tunnel, so to speak. And
Yeah.
I guess actually based on that, like, what is your plans for global expansion? Where you guys want to go next? What companies do you want to partner up with?
So first of all, a lot we wanted to partner with like robotic arm OEM, different robotic brand. We are actively like doing that, and we are actively like integrating our model to their hardware, and actively make it into something that is easily deployable both for them, their system integrator, and to make it like very very simple to deploy that tasks that are like basically not economical in the past. So that's one. And then the other thing that we are actively like pushing for is like say like the humanoid embodiment, where one of the company that we are talking to is like Agility Robotics, and we hope to partner with them on the model and to make like this humanoid embodiment to be able to do a lot of different fine manipulation tasks. Yeah.
Okay, that's a great answer. Listen, it was great having you on the podcast. I think AI is moving from software into an actual physical world, and you guys are solving that problem. And the companies just figure out the real world interactions, will define the next decade. And again, I appreciate you coming, and this was a great conversation. I wish you all the best. I will definitely will see you on the Fortune magazine.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Sergey.
Thank you.